Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Srila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Srila Satchir Ananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. नाम अक्षय शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय. श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय. सर्व अभिष्ट विराट गिरिराज महाराज की जाय. श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय. श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय. श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय. श्री भक्ति देवी की जय. श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय. श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय. श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणेति नामिने. नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिति नामिने. वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिशे नमः. गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. Young Pravrajantam. Sorry, 1 second. Just want to check. Okay. Yang Pravrajantam anupetamapeta dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravobhinedusthang sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Shrinvatang svakatha Krishna punyashravan kirtana hridantasto hyabadrani vidhunoti suhrit satam. Nashta prayeshvavadreshu nityang bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamang charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्ग मध्ये कृपा मयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दं. भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौरभक्तवृन्द. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Kishore Prabhu, Madhavi Didi, Raseshwari Mataji, Rupa Manjari Didi, Anup Krishna Prabhu, Gargraji. Dandavat pranams to all of you. So today is a special day. Today is the birth of Krishna. And Rupa Manjari Didi just reminded me this morning that it also happens to be Ashtami today. So Ashtami Titi, the same Titi Krishna appears. So I thought that was kind of neat. I have somebody, Giriraj came to me just the other day, and I have to take care of him while somebody is away for a month. So I'm just getting used to doing all the Giriraj worship. That's why I'm late today, though. So chapter 3, the birth of Lord Krishna. As described in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Hari, in his original form, appeared as Vishnu so that his father and mother could understand that their son was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because they were afraid of Kṛṣṇa, when the Lord appeared as an ordinary child, they took him to Gokul, the home of Nanda Maharaj. Mother Devaki, being fully transcendental, Satchid Ananda, does not belong to this material world. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared with 4 hands, as if born from her womb. Upon seeing the Lord in that Vishnu form, Vasudeva was struck with wonder. Prajumna was there. Dandavat pranams Prajumna Prabhu. Maybe we could sing afterwards? Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared with 4 hands as if from her womb. Upon seeing the Lord in that Vishnu form, Vasudeva was struck with wonder, and in transcendental happiness, he and Devaki mentally gave 10,000 cows in charity to the Brahmins. Vasudeva then offered prayers to the Lord, addressing him as the Supreme Person, Para Brahman, the Supersoul, who is beyond duality and who is internally and externally all-pervading. The Lord, the cause of all causes, is beyond material existence. Although he is the creator of this material world, he's beyond it. When he enters this world as Paramatma, he is all-pervading, Dantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam. Yet, he is transcendentally situated. For the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material world, the Lord appears as the Guna avatars, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar. Thus, Vasudeva offered prayer full of meaning to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devaki followed her husband by offering prayers describing the transcendental nature of the Lord. Fearing Kṛṣṇa and desiring that the Lord not be understood by atheistic and materialistic non-devotees, she prayed that the Lord withdraw his transcendental 4-armed form and appear like an ordinary child with 2 hands. The Lord reminded Vasudeva and Devaki of 2 other incarnations in which he had appeared as their son. He had appeared as Prishni Garbha and Vamandev, and now this was the 3rd time he was appearing as a son of Devaki to fulfill their desire. The Lord decided to leave the residence of Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison house of Kṛṣṇa, and at this very time, Yogamaya took birth as the daughter of Yashoda. By the judgment of Yogamaya, Vasudeva was able to leave the prison house and save the child from the hands of Kṛṣṇa. When Vasudeva brought Krishna to the house of Nanda Maharaj, he saw that by Yogamaya's arrangement, Yashoda, as well as everyone else, was deeply asleep. Thus he exchanged the babies, taking Yogamaya from Yashoda's lap, placing Krishna there instead. Then Vasudeva returned to his own place, having taken Yogamaya as his daughter. He placed Yogamaya on Devaki's bed and prepared to be a prisoner as before. In Gokul, Yashoda could not understand whether she had given birth to a male or a female child. Actually, it's okay. One second. Let me just see the comments. Everything running okay? Haribol, Rohit, Radha Krishna ji. Okay, so. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ata Sarva Gunopeta Kala Paramashobhana Yarheva Jana Janmarksham Shantarksha Grahatarakam Disha Prasedur Gaganang Nirmalo Ganodayam Mahi Mangala Bhuyishta Puragrama Vrajakara Nadya Prasanna Salila Radha Jala Ruha Shriya Dvijali Kulasannadha Stavaka Vanarajaya Rajayaha Vava Vayu Sukasparsha Punya Gandha Vaha Shuchi Agnayascha Dijatinam Shantas Samindhata Manangsiasan Prasannani Sadhunam Asuradruham Jayamane Jane Tasmin Nedur Dundu Bhayasamam. All right, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Finally, after our years of reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, finally we made it to Krishna's birth. Let's read this. Thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashvini. The sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds, the earth seemed all auspicious. The river flowed with clear water, and the lakes and vast reservoirs, full of lilies and lotuses, were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants, full of flowers and leaves, pleasing to the eyes, birds like the cuckoos and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. The bees are singing with sweet voices. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the sense of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. And when the Brahmins engaging in ritualistic ceremonies ignited their fires according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and Brahmins, who had always been disturbed by demons like Kṛṣṇa and his men, felt peace within the core of their hearts. And kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary systems. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his appearance, birth, and activities are all transcendental, and that one who factually understands them is immediately eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man who is forced to accept a material body according to his past deeds. The Lord's appearance is explained in the previous chapter. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. When the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. The astrological influence of the constellation known as Rohini was also predominant because this constellation is considered very auspicious. Rohini is under direct supervision of Brahma, who is born of Vishnu, and it appears at the birth of Lord Vishnu, who in fact is birthless. According to the astrological calculation, besides the proper situation of the stars, there are auspicious and inauspicious moments due to the different situations of the different planetary systems. At the time of Krishna's birth, The planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. At that time, in all directions, east, west, south, north, everywhere, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. Auspicious stars were visible in the sky, and on the surface in all towns and villages or pasturing grounds, and within the minds of everyone, there were signs of good fortune. The rivers were flowing full of water, and the lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full with beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forests began to sing with sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance with their consorts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers, and the sensation of bodily touch was very pleasing. At home, the Brahmins, who were accustomed to offer sacrifices in the fire, found their homes very pleasant for offerings. Because of disturbances created by the demoniac kings, the sacrificial fire had been almost stopped in the houses of the Brahmins. But now they could find the opportunity to start the fire peacefully. Being forbidden to offer sacrifices, the Brahmins were very distressed in mind, intelligence, and activities. But just on the point of Krishna's appearance, automatically their minds became full of joy because they could hear loud vibrations of the sky of transcendental sounds proclaiming the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the occasion of Lord Krishna's birth, seasonal changes took place throughout the entire universe. Krishna was born during the month of September, yet it appeared like springtime. The atmosphere, however, was very cool, although not chilly, and the rivers and reservoirs appeared just as they would in Sharad, the fall. Lotuses and lilies blossomed during the day, but although Krishna appeared at 12 o'clock at midnight, the lilies and lotuses were in full bloom, and thus the wind blowing at that time was full of fragrance. Wow, what a beautiful description. Because of Kṛṣṇa's disturbances, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies had almost stopped. The Brahmins and saintly persons could not execute the Vedic rituals with peaceful minds. But now the Brahmins were very pleased to perform their daily ritualistic ceremonies undisturbed. The business of the Asuras is to disturb the Suras, the devotees and Brahmins. But at the time of Krishna's appearance, these devotees and Brahmins were undisturbed. So all the seasons were showing their best, like they were all serving to their best capacity. So the rivers and reservoirs are very beautiful during the fall time. So then they did their service, and springtime is the main one, it looks like. All right. Just checking the comments. Dandavat pranams Savitri Didi. Sudevi Didi. Jago kinnara gandharvas tushtuvo siddhacharana vidyadharyaschanan ritur apsaro bhisamang buddha. The Kinnaras and Gandharvas began to sing auspicious songs. The Siddhas and Charanas offered auspicious prayers. And the Vidyadharis, along with the Apsaras, began to dance in jubilation. One second. Mumuchur munayo deva Sumanangshi mudanvita mandang jaladhara jagarjur anusagaram nishite tamas udbhute jayamane janardane devakyam devarupinyam vishnu sarva guhashaya avirasidyata prachyam dishindur iva pushkala. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky very mildly. And clouds gathered in the sky and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean's waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. Jai Shri Devaki Nandan Shri Krishna Chandra Ki Jai. Haribol Jai Shri Krishna Chandra Ki Jai. Shri Vajendra Nandan Sham Sundar Shri Krishna Chandra Ki Jai. Purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 537, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purushang Tamaham Bhajami. This verse indicates that Krishna and his entourage are of the same spiritual potency, Ananda Chinmaya Ras. Krishna's father, his mother, his friends, the cowherd boys, and the cows are all expansions of Krishna, as will be explained in the Brahma Vimohan Lila. And that's when Srila Prabhupada's last purport. That was where Srila Prabhupada ends. When Brahma took away Krishna's associates to test the supremacy of Lord Krishna, the Lord expanded himself again in the forms of the many cowherd boys and calves, all of whom, as Brahma saw, were Vishnu Murtis. Devaki is also an expansion of Krishna, and therefore this verse says, Devakyang Devarupinyam Vishnu Sarva Guhashaya. At the time for the Lord's appearance, the great sages and demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers. At the seashore, there was the sound of mild waves, and above the sea, there were clouds in the sky which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who is residing within the heart of every living entity, appeared in the darkness of night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead before Devaki, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at that time would be compared to the rising of the full moon in the sky on the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, there could be no rising of the full moon. In answer to this, it may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty which is the hierarchy of the moon. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty wherein the moon is himself the original person, the moon was in an overjoyous condition. So, by the grace of Krishna, he could appear as a full moon. To welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the waning moon became a full moon in jubilation. Instead of Devarupinyam, some texts of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam clearly say Vishnu Rupinyam. In either case, that means that Devaki has the same spiritual form as the Lord. The Lord is Satchid Ananda Vigraha, and Devaki is also Satchid Ananda Vigraha. Therefore, one can find any fault in the way the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Satchid Ananda Vigraha, appeared from the womb of Devaki. Those who are not in full knowledge that the appearance and disappearance of the Lord are transcendental, Janma Karma Chame Devyam, are sometimes surprised that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can take birth like an ordinary child. Actually, however, the Lord's birth is never ordinary. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is already situated within the core of everyone's heart as Antaryami, the Supersoul. Thus, because he was present in full potency in Devaki's heart, he was also able to appear outside her body. One of the 12 great personalities is Bhishmadev, Swayambhur Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapila Manu Prahlada Janako Bhishma. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 6.3.20. Those are the 12 Mahajans. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.42, Bhishma, a great authority to be followed, says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in the core of everyone's heart, just as the sun may be on everyone's head. Yet, although the sun may be on the head of millions of people, this does not mean that the sun is variously situated. Similarly, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has inconceivable potencies, he can be within everyone's heart and yet not be situated variously. Ekatvam anupashyata. That's Ishupanishad 7. The Lord is one, but he can appear in everyone's heart by his inconceivable potency. Thus, although the Lord was within the heart of Devaki, he appeared as her child. According to the Vishnu Purana, therefore, as quoted in the Vaishnav Toshani, the Lord appeared like the sun, Anupasaya. The Brahma Samhita 535 confirms that the Lord is situated even within the atom, Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam. He is situated in Mathura and Vaikuntha and in the core of the heart. Therefore, one should clearly understand that he did not live like an ordinary child in the heart or the womb of Devaki, nor did he appear like an ordinary human child, although he seems to do so in order to bewilder asuras like Kṛṣṇa. The asuras wrongly think that Krishna took birth like an ordinary child and passed away from this world like an ordinary man. Such asuric conceptions are rejected by persons in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvaro pisan. Sorry, guys. That's Bhagavad Gita 4.6. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvaro pisan. Sorry. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is Aja, unborn, and he is the supreme controller of everything. Nonetheless, he appeared as the child of Devaki. This verse describes the inconceivable potency of the Lord, who appeared like the full moon. Understanding the special significance of the appearance of the Supreme Godhead, one should never regard him as having taken birth like an ordinary child. Until he become a Brajavasi. Tamarbhutam balakamam bhujekshanam chaturbhujam shanka gadadudayudam yudam Srivatsa Lakshmang Galasho Bikostubam Pitambaram Sandra Payodaso Bhagam Maharaha Vaidurya Kirita Kundala Trisha Parishvakta Sahasra Kuntalam. Oops. Udama Kanchangada Kankanadivir Virochamanam Vasudeva Aikshata. Haribol, yes. Jai. Oh, come on. Scroll down. There. Vasudeva then saw the newborn child, who had very wonderful lotus-like eyes, and who bore in his 4 hands the 4 weapons, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. On his chest was the mark of Shrivatsa, and on his neck the brilliant Kaustuba gem. Dressed in yellow, his body blackish like a dense cloud, his scattered hair fully grown, and his helmet and earrings sparkling uncommonly with the valuable gem Vaidurya. The child, decorated with a brilliant belt, armlets, bangles, and other ornaments, appeared very wonderful. Wonder what the Vaidurya means. Looks like. Purport. We'll look at a picture also, the illustration for this. Purport. To support the word adbhuta, meaning wonderful, the decorations and opulences of the newborn child are fully described. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 530, Barhavatangsam asitam buddhasundarangam. The hue of the Lord's beautiful form resembles the blackish color of dense clouds. Asita means blackish, and Ambuda means cloud. It is clear from the word Chaturbhujam that Krishna first appeared with 4 hands as Lord Vishnu. No ordinary child in human society has been born with 4 hands. And when a child is born with when is a child born with fully grown hair? The descent of the Lord, therefore, is completely distinct from the birth of an ordinary child. The Vaidurya gem, which sometimes appears bluish, sometimes yellow, and sometimes red, is available in Vaikuntha Loka. The Lord's helmet and earrings were decorated with this particular gem. I just want to see something really quick. Okay, I think let's read to verse 12. And then tomorrow we'll read the prayers of Vasudeva Maharaj. Savismayotpula vilochano haring sutam vilokyana kadundubhistata Krishna avatarotsava sambramo sprisham Muda dvijebhyo yutamapluto gavam. When Vasudeva saw his extraordinary son, his eyes were struck with wonder. In transcendental jubilation, he mentally collected 10,000 cows and distributed them among the Brahmins as a transcendental festival. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has analyzed the wonder of Vasudeva. He analyzed the wonder of Vasudeva upon seeing his extraordinary child. Vasudeva was shivering with wonder to see a newborn child decorated so nicely with valuable garments and gems. He could immediately understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had appeared, not as an ordinary child, but in its original, fully decorated, 4-handed form. The first wonder was that the Lord was not afraid to appear within the prison house of Kṛṣṇa, where Vasudeva and Devaki were interned. Second, although the Lord, the Supreme Transcendence, is all-pervading, he had appeared from the womb of Devaki. The third point of wonder, therefore, was that a child could take birth from the womb so nicely decorated. Fourth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was Vasudeva's worshipable deity, yet had taken birth as a son. For all these reasons, Vasudeva was transcendentally jubilant, and he wanted to perform a festival as Kshatriyas do to celebrate the birth of a child. But because of his imprisonment, he was unable to do it externally, and therefore he performed the festival within his mind. This was just as good. If one cannot externally serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can serve the Lord within one's mind. The activities of the mind are as good as those of the other senses. This is called the non-dual or absolute situation, Advaya Gyan. People generally perform ritualistic ceremonies for the birth of a child. Why then should Vasudeva not have performed such a ceremony when the Supreme Lord appeared as his son? So we'll end with this verse here. Atai namastor avadharya purusham parang natanga kritadhi kritanjali swarochisha bharata sutika griham viro chayantang gatabhi prabhavavit. O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of King Bharata, Vasudeva could understand that this child was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Having concluded this without a doubt, he became fearless. Bowing down with folded hands and concentrating his attention, he began to offer prayers to the child who illuminated his birthplace by his natural influence. He illuminated his birthplace by his natural influence. Purport. Struck with such great wonder, Vasudeva now concentrated his attention on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Understanding the influence of the Supreme Lord, he was surely fearless, since he understood that the Lord had appeared to give him protection. Gatabhi prabhavavit. Understanding that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present, he appropriately offered prayers as follows. Should we end here? Maybe let's read the first prayer. I'm just looking at this. Let's see. Yeah, Vasudeva offers lots of prayers up to verse 22. And then Devaki begins her prayers. So yeah, I think let's just read one of Vasudeva's prayers. Oops, what am I doing? Sorry guys, one second. Shri Vasudeva Uvacha Veditosi Bhavan Shakshat Purusha Prakrite Para Kevalanu Bhavananda Swarupa Sarva Buddhidrik. Vasudeva said, My Lord, you are the Supreme Person beyond material existence, and you are the Supersoul. Your form can be perceived by transcendental knowledge, by which you can be understood as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I now understand your position perfectly. Purport. Within Vasudeva's heart, affection for his son and knowledge of the Supreme Lord's transcendental nature both awakened in the beginning. Both awakened. In the beginning, Vasudeva thought, such a beautiful child has been born, but now Kṛṣṇa will come and kill him. But when he understood that this was not an ordinary child, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he became fearless. Regarding his son as the Supreme Lord, wonderful in everything, he began offering prayers appropriate for the Supreme Lord, completely free from fear of Kṛṣṇa's atrocities. Completely free from fear of Kṛṣṇa's atrocities, he accepted the child simultaneously as an object of affection and as an object of worship by prayers. Okay, let's read one more. Sa eva swaprakriti srištvagre trigunatmakam taranutvam pravishta eva bhavyase. My Lord, you are the same person who in the beginning created this material world by his personal external energy. After the creation of this world, after the creation of this world of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, you appear to have entered it, although in fact you have not. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 7.4, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains, Bhumir apo nalo vayu kang mano buddhireva cha ahankara iti yang me bhinna prakritir ashtada. This material world of three modes of nature, sattvagun, rajagun, and tamagun, is a composition of earth, water, fire, air, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all of which are energies coming from Krishna. Yet Krishna, being always transcendent, is aloof from this material world. Those who are not in pure knowledge think that Krishna is a product of matter, and that his body is material like ours. Avajananti mam muda. In fact, however, Krishna is always aloof from this material world. In the Vedic literature, we find the creation described in relationship to Mahavishnu, as stated in the Brahma Samhita 535. Eko pyaso rachaitum jagaranda kotim, yachaktirasti jagaranda chayantarasta, andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam, govindamari purusham ham bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord, Govinda, the original personality of Godhead. By his partial plenary expansion as Mahavishnu, he enters into material nature. Then he enters every universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he enters all the elements, including every atom of matter, as Kshiradaksha Vishnu. Such manifestations of cosmic creation are innumerable, both in the universes and in the individual atoms. Govinda is partially exhibited as Antaryami, the supersoul, who enters this material world, Andantarasta, and who is also within them. The Brahma Samhita 548 further says, Yasyaika nishvasita kalam atavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagarandanata Vishnur mahansa iha yasya kala vishesho govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. This verse describes Mahavishnu as a plenary expansion of Krishna. Krishna lies on the causal ocean, and when he exhales, millions of Brahmandas, or universes, come from the pores of his body. Then, when Mahavishnu inhales, all these Brahmandas disappear. Thus, the millions of Brahmandas controlled by the Brahmas and other demigods come and go in this material world through the breathing of Mahavishnu. Foolish persons think that when Krishna appears as a son of Vasudeva, he is limited like an ordinary child. But Vasudeva was aware that although the Lord is a son, the Lord had not entered Devaki's womb and then come out. Rather, the Lord was always there. The Supreme Lord is all-pervading and present within and without. Pravishta eva bhavyase. He only seemed to have entered the womb of Devaki and to have now appeared as Vasudeva's child. The expression of this knowledge by Vasudeva indicates that Vasudeva knew how these events took place. Vasudeva was certainly a devotee of the Lord in full knowledge, and we must learn from devotees like him. Bhagavad Gita 4:34 therefore recommends, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tatvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Vasudeva begot the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet he was in full knowledge of how the Supreme Lord appears and disappears. He was therefore Tattvadarshi, a seer of the truth, because he personally saw how the Supreme Absolute Truth appeared as a son. Vasudeva was not in ignorance, thinking that because the Supreme Godhead had appeared as a son, the Lord had become limited. The Lord is unlimitedly existing and all-pervading, inside and outside. Thus, there is no question of his appearance or disappearance. All right, so we'll end here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur, Haribol, Nitai Gaur, Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur, Haribol. Jai Shri Sachinanda, Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari, Shri Radha Vinod Vihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishmar, Bhakti, sorry, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupada Shatarashata Shishmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupada Shatarashata Shishmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Maha-Bhagavat Srila Gokshara Swabaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Srila Satchid Ananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vaja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shyama Kund ki jai. Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Krishna Chandra ki jai. Shri Vasudeva Devaki ki jai. Shri Krishna Chandra Avirbhav Leela ki jai. Devaki Nandan, Vasudev Nandan, Shri Krishna Chandra ki jai. Ashtami Titi ki jai. Today is also Ashtami. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vancha kalpatarubhyashta kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Wait, I didn't do Vrindadevi Pranam. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshvashta Krishna Bhakti Prada Devi Satyavadai Namo Vancha kalpatarubhyashta. Dandavat Pranams everybody. So see you all tomorrow for the rest of Vasudeva Maharaj's prayers, Vasudev's prayers, and then also Devaki's prayers. I'm just looking. Wow, lots of comments from Pradyumna Prabhu. You want to take darshan of Giriraj? Okay. I still haven't finished decorating because I had to get ready for. Pradyumna Prabhu, I don't really want to sing right now, actually. I hope you don't mind. Here, I'm going to give you darshan. Okay, now you can hear me. Haribol. Alright. So here you can see, I haven't finished decorating him yet though, so I still have to put all the flowers and everything, but yeah, here's a Giriraj I'm taking care of. Here, sunlight. See, there he is. I still have to give all the flowers and everything though. All right, so we'll see you all tomorrow. Oh yeah, and Yashoda Didi, I don't know why it's not working. It's strange. For you, only YouTube is working, huh? Yeah, I prefer YouTube personally. All right, Dandavat Pranams everybody. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe.